I am embarrassed at how Jimmy rigged my setup is here. I'm gonna pin this comment. Let's talk about. Oh, nope, not bird. Let's talk about cosplay DIY photo shoots. Nope, it's not gonna take it. Okay, cosplay DIY photo shoots, and it's all capitalized because why not? Pin the comment. Alright, oh, look at that. And my guest is on time. Well, actually, early. And then my little rig setup I have here just totally fell apart. Okay, great. Not totally ideal, but everything I have is broken. So, I'm gonna get you to join, Blue. Headphones. Okay, whatever. It's too late. She's here.
Hello.
Hey.
My headphones decided just not to behave with anything.
All right, so let me see if I can put my headphones in too. A total afterthought.
I was really worried because I wasn't getting sound. I'm only allowed to have sound if I'm actually part of a live, I guess.
Really?
If I'm just watching, Instagram will not play sound through the headphones.
All right, I think I'm connected too.
Excellent.
So last week, I was having a really bad week. My headphones, I was talking to my therapist, my headphones would not connect. And like, it's kind of like your case where it's like, something's not connecting. I can't either hear her or something if I don't have headphones, and it would not connect. And I had like an emotional breakdown before even talking to my therapist, just trying to like get connected to her.
Oh, and that's so frustrating.
Right, because you're like, I'm almost there. I just need to talk to you because life sucks.
which side of this isn't working? This is the last thing I need right now. Oh, and there goes the cat. Hello. Are you going to knock everything over and be a menace?
I thought about having my cat up here. I just recorded a video, hopefully for tomorrow, maybe. And I had her in here, part of the video. And I'm like, I would love to have you in here when I stream, but menace, chaos.
I have the door open for my catio so he can go outside, which is really the only way I have to hopefully prevent him from being a menace, is tempt him with the desire to go outside, which generally he wants more than to cause mischief.
How nice is it down there?
It's pretty nice today. It's like in the 40s, I think, today.
That's beautiful.
It's going to snow the next couple of days and then be nice again, I think, hopefully on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that'd be nice. Do you have any plans for New Year's?
Yes, although that might be spoilers for one of the questions that you sent me.
Okay. I suppose like everything's still like locked down where you are, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, normally me and some of my friends from middle school, actually, because friendships forged in like the middle school weeb phase, is like we can never stop being friends because we have so much like embarrassment, like dirt on each other, that it's like those bonds are forged in fire now. So we normally go to the NDK New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that like since middle school. But obviously that's not happening this year because even if it wasn't canceled, I don't want to go be in a room with a bunch of sweaty people all packed in together right now.
Oh man, that sounds like a nightmare right now.
Yeah. Especially since it's like a dance, so you're like breathing heavily. That's a good way of stress testing a costume, is trying to dance in it. Oh boy.
Yeah, I went to NDK New Year's Eve once, and I had a blast. Don't remember most of it.
My favorite thing is every year there's some people who go to that hotel and they've just picked a random hotel in the Denver area to just go to, and they're just like, it's New Year's Eve. I'm a normal person and I'm just going to stay at a hotel and just drink and have a nice, normal New Year's Eve. Oh God, what is happening? And they're just in the lobby trying to drink, and then, oh boy,
Wait.
they were not prepared.
All right, so we got quite a crowd in here already. All right, so you're in your place right now.
I am.
Where currently is your backdrop located? As you can see, I have mine half-assed up at the moment. Where do you usually do your most productive work?
So normally my photo shoots happen directly behind me. Right now I had to move it because my Christmas tree is up, so my backdrop is just out of frame right here. I just kind of shoved it out of the way. Everything else is chaos. I have this little nook that I've created. Maybe I can move this so you can actually kind of see. So you have the Christmas tree and then my kind of entertainment center there. So I intentionally, as I was planning out how I was going to lay out my apartment here, I designed it so I'd have a place for my backdrop to be up at all times. And the reason I wanted to do that was actually inspired by, and I felt bad as I was reading some of your questions, I'm going to sound like an insane stalker because pretty much everything I know about self-shooting I learned from Ginny D. Mm-hmm. And she's changed it since she's moved, but she used to have this setup for her videos that was just this like draped, like sheer fabric with a bunch of flowers hanging down, and I thought that was like the prettiest thing. So most of the time I have that backdrop up, and I intentionally made that part of like the decor in my apartment, and I have a mirror set up directly across from it, which means that during photo shoots I can see what I'm doing. But it also means that if I want to snap a quick selfie in an outfit or a costume, or I just want to set up my lights and just go, I always have a backdrop that's at least kind of good looking, whether it's for just like, I want to take a picture of this cute outfit and put it on Facebook, or for cosplay stuff, which makes it a lot easier to do photo shoots.
Yeah, that's ideal. That's like the dream right there.
Definitely not a normal thing to plan your apartment around, but I also like don't have a dining room table because, I mean, I have one, it's just shoved in a corner and currently covered in ironing board and utterly inaccessible, so.
It's there when you need it.
You know, yeah.
No, that's like ideal. I think a lot of people who do like their own photos, especially during this quarantine, they're like, no, if I could have like a room or a space dedicated just to that, that'd be perfect.
And I just sort of have like this one nook that is just barely wide enough for my backdrop stand. But I did move in, was it late August of this year? So I was able to sort of plan around the space as I was moving in. I was like, okay, what am I going to need in this space? How do I want to plan things as I'm setting this up, rather than my previous apartment where I'd gotten a job and it was all super last minute and I was just kind of panicking and buying furniture and just moving in and very much in a tizzy because I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, totally get that. Okay, now because you have your backdrop up all the time, sometimes it could be like a tendency. It's kind of like a yoga mat on the floor. Like you can look past it with every intention of always using it. Have you come across that problem, or do you like see it and you're inspired to like jump into cosplay all the time?
You know, it's kind of both. I had for a while been pretty good about scheduling like one costume that I wanted to get into and take pictures of a week, and then the new expansion for World of Warcraft came out, and then I was just like, Um, so sometimes it helps. A lot of times I will end up in costume kind of on accident, just like I'm working on something and then I'm like, oh, I want to try on some pieces. Oh, I'll do a makeup test. I guess I'll just put on the rest of it. And when I have the backdrop up, it makes it a lot easier to just like take those pictures then and actually get something out of it, which is nice to actually, even if I don't set up all the lights and set up all the everything, to be able to have a nicer backdrop for just like a mirror selfie, makes it a lot easier to get something out of those kind of impromptu, just putting stuff on sort of days where the spirit just kind of moves you.
Yeah, it's like one less thing to worry about too, in case you have like, I'm gonna do a makeup test. Well, maybe I should like whatever. It's like, well, you already have your backdrop up. That's like saves 5 minutes. Takes 5 minutes, but it's always like the worst thing to. It's like an extra thing to do.
Right. And I'm very good at like, if something isn't in front of me, it may as well just like not exist. I have no sense of object permanence, basically. So if it's not up, then it's not there. It's gone forever.
Oh no, I get that. That is just ADHD culture. It's like, oh no, unless the vegetables are like on the top shelf of the fridge, they don't exist.
Yeah. Everything I have is sort of spread in a thin layer across various surfaces so that I can see parts of everything that I might need, which is really not ideal, but, you know.
It's readily available.
Yeah. Mostly.
Those quick photos that you do of like makeup tests or whatever, that you jump in front of your mirror or and just take a selfie of, do you, or even if you're like in full costume, do you ever like take those pictures like you're feeling it and then just like not post it, or plan this really nice photo shoot and then just call it a bust, you know? I think every photographer I've ever talked to, or like they've experienced that wasted photo shoot experience.
There have definitely been some where it just turns out bad, but most of the time it's less about like, sometimes it's been that I got my framing wrong. Like one of the backdrops I have, my one that's like the brick, is just a nightmare to work with because it's not quite tall enough for how tall I am. I'm sure this is something that you run into as well, which is that backdrops that are designed to have like a wall and a floor, it's a cool concept, but if you are tall in any capacity, it's not the distance that the wall is supposed to be and the length that the floor, the illusion just doesn't work, and I end up with my head cut off, or I can't hold my arms out because then my wingspan extends past where the backdrop is. So sometimes I've just positioned and posed wrong in every single one of them, or sometimes I had one recently where I'd been fighting with the costume the whole time, and I was like, all right, I think I've got this in working condition, and then I took all the pictures and realized that actually the costume just didn't look very good, and that was probably where the photos looked bad, is the costume wasn't very good to begin with.
Like you get done with the photo shoot and like you're like, I forgot to put this on, or I did not realize like this was not done the entire time. And it's not something you can edit like in Photoshop, photo editing, anything.
All of my photos that I took of my Caduceus costume, my shoulder pad is upside down, and I didn't notice until I had already taken out my contacts, and there's no way I'm getting contacts back in without ruining the face paint, and it's like, well, I'm posting them anyway because it's not super noticeable because I did paint the underside, but you can tell if you look, there's a butterfly that's supposed to be perched delicately on the edge, and that butterfly is drunk,
it is not delicate
off the bottom. It's not perched on the edge like a Disney princess. It is falling off the bottom. It's not good.
See, unless you told me that, I would have never picked that up.
And now you'll never be able to not notice it
and see it. I can't see it. I I thought when you were gonna say with your brick backdrop, I thought you were gonna say the bricks will never be straight.
Oh, getting the brick straight is also, oh,
It's because it's like, okay, is that my phone or is that my camera? Is it my backdrop? Is it me? And then if you try to like go and post and straighten it, then like you're Kitty Wampus. And I mean, like it's very not noticeable, but like you notice it.
yeah. Well, and I think my backdrop stand, like, I can't get the top bar to hang straight, so, like, that's always super off-center, and that's a whole other problem, so
Do you
it's a lot.
get all your equipment? Do you like get it all on Amazon or do you have like a secret distributor?
I get pretty much everything off of Amazon. I have a couple of times, like, browsed AliExpress looking for some of the backdrop stuff, but they aren't actually noticeably cheaper off of AliExpress than off of Amazon, which I was kind of surprised by. Um, so yeah, there's a couple of things where like I will get props and other like bits from other places. Like I picked things up at the dollar store and just things that I've been given because at this point, like my dad in particular, is really involved with his church, and there's a lot of like crafty, miscellaneous stuff that happens at a church, and when there's leftovers from that, sometimes he will, if nobody else needs them, he will just take them and be like, Laura can do something with that. And generally I can.
That's
so
perfect. Like literally before I came up here, my mom called me down and was like, "You need to go through this giant chest that we have, and it's full of old bed sheets and like pillowcases that we have." And I forgot that that's in there. And she's like, "Whatever you want, take it out. Otherwise, it's all going to the thrift store." And I have like dead ass 15 pounds of just fabric in my other room, like draping. I mean, like drafting. This is what I
Yeah,
look
sheets are
for.
so good for that. I lucked
You
out
know,
with some fabric. I'm working on, oh, got cat getting too close to the T. I'd started working on Hypnos from Hades, and I was looking to see if I had any like red stuff for his sleep mask, and found some fabric scraps from my grandma, who passed like 15 years ago at this point, from a bathrobe that she had made for my older brother when he was little, that was like the perfect red material. And I was like, this is amazing. So I have some of these like amazing bits of fabric, and like I have a whole bunch of random like butterfly wands that my dad got from some event and was like, just figured that I would have something to do with them. And he's probably right. I'll figure something to do with them.
I mean, yeah, like this is how cosplaying and then it's like like even sewers, like your grandma probably was a sewer, and it's
Yeah,
like this is how people become hoarders.
yeah.
But then hopefully you'll eventually have like someone else to give this all to.
Right. Fingers
Um,
crossed.
Also, like
I'm gonna
the
look it up.
fabric, like fabrics hoard, like you do a lot of like layering and draping. Like you
Hmm.
actually win with your draping techniques. I've also tried that too, and I'm like every time I try it, I'm like this just looks terrible. Um,
Thanks.
but you're just oh I don't know, like what's your secret? What's your technique?
Um, just I am really bad at doing things precisely. So if I can't do draping, I'm just kind of out of luck. I think um, is kind of what it boils down to. I think a lot of it is like what fabric it is, because some things just don't behave. My secret to things draping, like the most beautiful drape for any fabric, is power mesh. It is like the best fabric. You don't have to hem it. It moves gorgeously, and any embellishments you want to add to power mesh, you can hot glue them on because since it's the mesh, the glue like goes through it, and then if you glue it on top of like parchment paper, so it has a flat surface, it smushes through on the other side and becomes flat, and then it's just like on there. That's never coming off. So I guess that's kind of the secret is power mesh. Just use wildly inappropriate fabrics and have no idea what any fabric is meant to do ever.
And power mesh is like stretchy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very stretchy. That's what my cream layer on Keyleth is made out of. Because I was just looking for something that was sheer and wasn't going to cost too much money when I was making her. And I just sort of picked that up and went, sure, why not?
Yeah, that costume is amazing.
Thank you. She was sort of my gateway drug into the, like, she was the first thing I'd ever designed and then made and had the result look like what I wanted it to look like. I was like,
that's really ambitious.
I can do that. And obviously she's changed a lot since 2017, I think, was when I first did that one. So.
Okay, so you mentioned in August you moved in, right? And that's kind of like when you started taking a lot of your, like at least on your Instagram, like that's where a lot of your photos started coming from. When did you start taking photos of yourself in general or in cosplay?
So I started at all. It would have been like early December last year, was when I got just the tripod and the ring light and had done a couple of shoots with that, just fiddling around. I did one with Keyleth that I don't think I posted anything from because all of them just turned out bad because I did it at night while standing way too far away from the ring light. And
yeah, we've been there.
A lot of why I got the tripod in the first place is because actually from the Wonder Woman group at Starfest in 2019, that costume that I made was not super sturdy. It completely self-destructed, but I never got any full body pictures of myself in it, and that was the case for a lot of costumes I had. I just never gotten any good quality full body pictures of me in them. And like my dad has a really nice camera and was willing to take pictures, but like if I was making a dumb face or something was flipped up or looked bad, he wouldn't think to tell me or notice these things. So I was like, you know what, I'll just do it myself. And yeah, so it wasn't until around the time that I moved that I updated my lighting enough that I started really taking a lot more, doing more photo shoots more regularly with the better lighting. So the shoots with Jester, Caduceus, and Percy from earlier this year all were done just with the ring light and hoping for the best with natural lighting, which obviously I think it went the best with Caduceus, but still wasn't great. So I'm really looking forward to getting into him with the fancy lights, as you can see, reflecting really intensely in my glasses. Doing him some better justice.
Yeah. Oh, you have tea. That's very appropriate.
Yeah.
Talking about pink boy with some tea. Got my ugly ass water bottle.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know.
Just have mine on the other side of the room.
I didn't know that you were a Wonder Woman in that group because I was at Starfest and I have a picture pulled up from a banner of one of my friends and I'm looking to try to find you in a group picture. It's like the one where Carl is on his side as...
I'm like very far in the back. I think in that one I'm like in the back standing next to Fiona.
Okay. Are you just like a floating head?
Very hard to see. I think I'm just a floating head.
Okay, I think I'm looking at you right now.
You really can't see me. I think the costume you could see me the best in, which is very hilarious, is I had sort of wandered off at some point, and then there's a picture that I just happened to be like walking past in the background of a like separate group of Wonder Woman who had sort of blebbed off, and we're doing a smaller group shoot with Hope, who was there as what's her name, the friend who gets her the makeover.
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
And I'm just like in the background as a blurry in motion person. That's the only picture where you could see the whole
just
costume.
Sasquatching it.
Yeah. So that was a lot of why I started doing it, is just because like I have no record of this costume.
Right?
Which is kind of a bummer.
So do you prefer okay, now that you're like kind of seasoned more into like doing DIY photo shoots, would you prefer like to go to a convention and book something with a photographer, or would you be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it at home?
I am spoiled now because I did manage to kind of talk my dad around, and like I'm training him with like a little bit more of, here's people know if they look stupid in photos. Oh, my internet freaked out for a second there. And mostly training him out of using Flash when taking pictures of people. I don't know why he keeps trying to use Flash. So I'm kind of spoiled in the fact that like, and I don't want to like take advantage of him, because his hobby is less like photography and more just having a camera, and he doesn't really care what he's taking pictures of as long as he gets to play with his toy.
Oh yeah.
And I keep telling him that he needs to like go to conventions when that's a thing again, because at a convention, the man with the DSLR who like respects women is king. I'm also just like so awkward with pictures and like with a photographer where it's like, I don't necessarily know this person.
Yeah.
So it just sounds like very stressful to me to do that, which is also part of why I started doing it at home, is just because like, boy, does that sound like a lot of negotiating like interpersonal interactions there, when I could just be like, hey, my dear father who I love and who I'm going to buy lunch for, do you want to take some pictures of me dressed like an elf in the woods for a bit? And he's like, sure, yeah, because he's also a turbo nerd and is pleased with I'm very grateful that he's not judgy of my very strange and expensive hobby.
Right? It's like you said, he's just a guy with a DSLR who's like, yeah, I'll take pictures or whatever. Let me play with my new gadget.
Yeah.
I never thought either that there's that personal aspect of like, it's kind of like you have to like get a beat on this person. You're like, okay, I have an hour. You might be paying them most of the time. If you have an hour, yeah. It's like Brian walking around. He'll be like, hey, can I borrow you for 5 minutes and do some photos? But I never even thought of that, because I'm the kind of person, I'm an extrovert. I collect introverts and Hufflepuffs and make them be my friend. So I usually have that energy of like, no, you need to get comfortable around me, buddy. But I never, actually having to like get a beat on that person that you're also taking pictures, or who's taking pictures of you. Because from what I have seen and like experienced taking pictures of my friends for whatever reason, it's like the first 20 to 30 to 60 minutes, it's like that's the warm-up period until like you guys are kind of used to each other's energy, and then you start getting like, really good pictures. But when you're at home by yourself, you're like, I have all day. Well, even if you're on a time crunch, you know what looks best to you.
Right. Well, and where I have issues is where it's like, because I'm very good at being like the introvert who collects the more introverted introverts and then brings them over to the actual extrovert and is like, okay, I'm going to be in bed by like 10 p.m. sharp. These are your problem now. But where it's like social meets professional, I just sort of fall out the window. But yeah, my dad was very funny after we did, because we spent like I think an hour doing photos while we were up in the mountains with the fall leaves and everything, and it was amazing. And he was saying that his goal with his photography is to be at the level of like somewhere between amateur and intermediate. And I was like, I have 80 phenomenal photos from an hour shoot. Like, that's beyond, like...
Unedited.
Like, yeah. And I was going to do the editing, but, like, the amount of editing that they needed was, like, crop it to be a square, tweak colors the tiniest amount, because even if and that's one of the nice things about working with an actual photographer is, like, somebody can actually say, oh, the framing here is a little weird, and could say, like, one of the pictures that I ended up loving is there was a section of leaves that was just, like, black and dead. And I was like, I want to go be in the middle of this. And he was like, this is kind of weird because you're surrounded by all the blackness. And I was like, yeah, but I want this thing where it's like, I'm just a pop of color.
Yeah.
And also because the crow prop that I have is only recognizably a bird from very specific angles. So having a separate set of eyes was very helpful for that, to say, nope, you need to rotate that a tiny bit towards me because it's just a blob now.
Oh, I get that. That's pretty cool too that you have, like, not only do you have like a sidekick to take your pictures, it's like your dad.
Right.
Woogie woogie woogie. Growing up, in high school, like from age 13 to like 20, whatever, I was always the person behind the camera. When I graduated, my class, I went off campus and did studying at the local college because you were able to do that in Minnesota. And my classmates like came to me at the time of graduation and were like, we don't have any photos of us from this year because you were not in class. So I was always the one behind the camera until starting cosplay, like back in mid 2018. But it sounds like you kind of got this niche from your dad.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky with that.
Did you grow up with him like always being the one wanting to like take pictures of you?
No, he only got into photography. I mean, he on like family trips, obviously, like there was always kind of the trade-off of, you know, who's taking pictures of who. But he got into photography more once I was in like later into high school, I think. Yeah, hello. Sorry, my cat is coming over here and being adorable and then also trying to bite me. So, yeah, he wasn't so much of like eternally the photographer as much of just like he picked it up. Again, he's a software developer and just into tech, and he just likes having gadgets. So I think that's why he enjoys it, is because it's like this fun, complicated thing that he can play with. You know, it's his toy. Like he's into cameras in the same way that like a lot of people are into cars almost.
Yeah.
Like he just likes it, rather than the camera being the tool for creating pictures. It's just like he likes having a camera.
That's so wholesome.
He's very wholesome. My dad is like the human version of Kermit the Frog.
Oh my God.
He is the most immensely wholesome person.
That's adorable. This is my dad, Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's the camera guy. What kind of equipment do you shoot with then?
I shoot with just my phone at this point. I'm looking into upgrading to a real camera. Sorry, that's just a pen. Okay. Because I've sort of reached the limit, like with some of the details on armor builds, I'm noticing that I can't get the resolution that I want with my phone. I have a Pixel 4 XL, I think is what my phone is. So it has a really nice camera on it. And normally I just use, I think on the iPhone it has a built-in, like, every couple of seconds it takes a picture thing, but on Android you have to install another app to do that.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my shoots, I just have it set so every 3 seconds it takes a picture. So I don't even use like a clicker timer, because then you have to like put that down, pick it up. And I find that having the timer means that I can like do a pose and then I just hold it for like 6 seconds or 15 seconds. And then if I blink or my face is a little weird in one of them, then I have multiple variations and options to choose from at the end. And I can just kind of keep moving. And then I get a lot of really high quality blooper shots of me in the middle of like standing up from the floor in particular.
Yeah, getting something really out of your mouth, like.
Yeah. I have a really good one from when I was doing my Veth shoot when I realized as I was cradling my basket with a bunch of berries in it that I just dropped a ton of blueberries on the floor and made a mess. I think I actually stained the backdrop that I was using there because I missed one and stepped on it later. Whoops. And then, yeah, I don't even use the ring light anymore on the tripod. I just use the tripod with the phone mount. And then I have my 2 big soft boxes and a backdrop stand, and that's basically it.
Nice. I do have a ring light too, actually just using one for my computer here. I love it. But I've noticed, like, if you have like the big lights, and I have umbrellas personally, but if you have that, unless you're like doing close-up, like really serious face stuff, it's like, no, I don't even need the ring light.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, since the ring light, and this is such a minor thing, but like since the ring light has the USB plug and I'm so far away from my computer over here, it's just like kind of a pain to get it plugged in, and then the USB connectors are always like flimsier where you plug them into the wall, and it's a lot easier, and that's one extra cord for me to trip over.
Yep, I get it. I did discover, like, I have a battery pack, like, just zip tied to a piece of my ring light. So but then you have to like recharge the battery pack and whatever. Right. But also my ring light broke after like a month of having it, and I can't return it on Amazon. Like, it was like too late or something. Like 32 days after having it, it broke. But other than that, what? Okay, what was I gonna say? I had like a segue for this. I have notes. Okay.
I have fake blood all over my ring light.
Oh, is that a spoiler for an upcoming?
No, that's just I made a mess.
Just playing with fake blood.
That's a, I guess, unspoiler from a reel that I was trying to record, but because the interface for recording and editing reels is so bad. I am also a software developer. I work with technology full time. I couldn't figure out how to make and edit a reel, if that makes anyone feel better about how terrible that interface is. Like, I tried to make one for like half an hour, and just the editing. I also had fake blood all over my hands, so I was like trying not to touch my phone too much. And I just gave up and I deleted the whole thing because it's bad.
That says
Instagram.
Something about Instagram, where we have a software developer who's
job.
like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah. It's a bad user interface.
It wants to be TikTok, but like everyone just pulls their videos from TikTok, I do, and just puts it on here, the platform.
At this point, I'm about to download TikTok just to make reels. Because I don't want to be on TikToks where teenagers can be mean to me. There's one teenager on TikTok who I care about, and it's my cousin Jay, and they follow me on Instagram anyway. So, like,
I'll say 2 things though. TikTok takes so much storage in your phone. I have a Google Pixel
Ooh.
2. It has not broken. I've had it for 2.5 years. Thank you, Jesus. Takes so much storage. And then also, I think what Ginny D did, because she went on there for a hot minute and then she bounced off, and I think she just privated all her photos or all her
Yeah,
videos.
so that she can download it.
Yeah, and I thought about doing that too, but
I don't want
I
people to
don't
be
know.
mean to me on the internet. I don't want
Yeah, they're
teenagers
gonna
being mean to me.
they're gonna be mean everywhere, but like they're vicious on TikTok. Because at least like on Instagram, it's like you have your people to back you up. They'll be
Right.
like, you have a dozen people who will like look at a mean comment and report that bitch.
Right.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna bounce, like I had a really good idea
Okay.
last night because we were talking about like backdrop and equipment or whatever. And after this, I was gonna actually send you a link to a backdrop wholesaler that I buy from. So far,
Ooh.
so good. Because I bought a 10 by 10 backdrop. It's just white, and it was like it comes from China. Takes a month to get here. It's deliciously cheap. I was like, this is a scam. Like, I'll try this because it was recommended to me by someone else, but I'll try it. And then it came here, and I didn't get scammed, and so far, so good. So last night I just spent like
Excellent.
a bunch of, like, bought like 3 or 4 more backdrops from this wholesaler. I'll see it in January.
Yeah.
But I bought this big 10 by 10 backdrop, and it's vinyl print, or it's vinyl material, which I personally love. I don't like this cloth stuff because creases.
Right.
And I thought, like last night when I was shopping online, I was trying to find like a painted like flowery backdrop. Like it's like a meadow that looks painted because I had this amazing idea to do a photo of like my Yasha cosplay in front of the mural that Jester drew for her or painted for
Oh,
her.
yeah.
And I was like, there has to be something, I can like edit a floor in, it'll be fine. I just want to find, I couldn't find anything, nothing that I liked.
Yeah.
So one of my goals here, maybe in this next coming week, is that I'm going to have one of my parents help me split my 10 by 10 backdrop in half. Because if you can't see this whole room here, it's very like it's long, but it's very tiny. I can't
Right.
fit a 10
Right.
by 10 backdrop in here. I mean, if I stand up right here, like I can touch my ceiling.
Right.
I'm 5'10". I can touch it. So I'm gonna have them like help me cut it in half, and then hopefully this next coming week, I hope to either stream it on Twitch or whatever. But I want to like sit down and paint that backdrop to make it look like
That's
what Jester
awesome.
draws for Yasha. So that's an upgrade or like something I want to do to up my DIY photo shoot game. Very ambitious, but I need a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still in quarantine. I still don't have a job, full-time job. So that was a long ass story. But what is something that you want to make or get for your studio setup in the near future?
I think probably one of the big ones is I want to get a better digital camera that can do like time-lapse stuff to do higher quality pictures so that I can get better like detail shots, especially for armor making, because I've gotten so into doing these like intricate armor builds, and I have a couple more of those planned for next year. And it's a little, sad to put all this effort into these details on stuff and then not be able to get pictures of them. I think one of the other things is, I think probably just mostly the camera. I might try to get, because right now I have one of the, I did that the wrong way. I have a shoulder thing. I have one of the stands that goes like that, but I know there's some where it's more of like this sort of a thing.
Yeah, you can't see it, but I have.
And I'm considering switching what I'm working with just because I noticed that like sometimes I end up with stuff sort of sliding off the side of my backdrop stand and stuff like that. I've also been trying to figure out a better solution for storing them. I have just the one closet, actually, all of my like human normal person clothes are in 2 dressers, and my entire closet, I have a pretty decently sized closet, is just cosplay stuff. So right now I have all of my backdrops sort of on like those pants hangers that are slatted, and I'm just kind of shoved in there. So I'm trying to figure out the best way of dealing with storage of the backdrops, because they're just big and weird and kind of annoying to try and fold in a lot of ways.
And then bringing out and ironing
Right. Oh,
every single time.
I steam if there's a really noticeable wrinkle, and then other than that, that's the nice thing about doing like drapey fabric over the top of it and putting like flowers, is like, don't look at anything. Like I feel like there's 2 philosophies with cosplay, and it's like there's people who do like just really clean stuff where it's just like meticulous and neat and the seams are done and everything is ironed. And then there's what I like to call the Razzle Dazzle method, which is what I do, which is where you just put more and more stuff on until nobody can tell anymore that you did a bad job. And they just assume that at some point along the way you must have known what you were doing, because there's so many things happening and so many details going on that they don't notice that your craftsmanship is eh. And that's my strategy, is the Razzle Dazzle method.
It's like in Clueless when Cher says, she like compares it some sort of the painter who like went blind, and like, anyway, she compares it to like, if you like stand far away, it looks great, but if you get up close, it looks like a whole big mess. And I'm like,
right.
That's why cosplayers are like, please stay 5 feet away from me, because
personal space.
Don't look too close. Personal space. Don't. That's gonna be something like a habit I'm gonna have to like break out of after everyone gets vaccinated, because I'm like, I clam up when someone gets too close to me. Yeah, get away from me.
Like, nope. You go.
As much of an extrovert as I am, I'm like, no. I'm gonna ask you to take. I went to Colorado to visit my brother, sister, and his family, niece and nephew. My niece is 5. No sense of personal space boundaries. She's the oldest of my nephew, who's 2.5. I mean, and there were so many times where I was like, I love you so much, but please just take one big step back.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
All right. Instagram is going to kick us off in about 9 minutes here.
Okay.
I had so many more questions, but let's end on a really good one. Let's end on some razzle-dazzly ones.
Okay.
How about give us a hint what kind of photo shoot you want to next do, or maybe a hint at what you were going to do on the New Year's Eve?
Yeah, so on New Year's Eve, we'll be outside at CU's campus, which is gorgeous, all of the old stone buildings, to do a Fire Emblem shoot with my dad, and one person from my quarantine bubble, and then a couple of people who will just be standing very far away from. And then once I have control of so I'm able to raise my arm again properly, which is coming very soon, I have a project that I started very early this year that I have all of the costumes done for, and I just need to do 2 more shoots for, that will be Caduceus and Keyleth, and then I have to figure out how I'm going to edit the composite together and post it to Instagram, because there's no way in hell it's going to end up as a square once I have everything done. So I guess that'll be 1 not self-shoot, and then 1 or 2 at home that I have next up on my roster of things that are coming down the line shortly here. So,
are you going to do like a group family photo of like you and all your Critical Role cosplays?
You will have to see.
I'm excited to see.
This was something that I like started planning, and then like 2 hours later, like somebody tweeted a thing of like, sometimes it's really nice to come up with a big project and then just not tell everyone about it and like keep it as a big surprise. And I was like, you read my mind. And also,
Son
damn
of a
it.
bitch, I'm in. Yep.
Yeah. All I will say is that I initially planned it as a way to get rid of, as like use up some of the excess florals that I had laying around, and it did not pan out that way. I bought so many more than I had at the start of this year.
You can't have enough though. Like
I have so many. It's
now,
mostly that they're really hard to store.
yeah, you can't squish them. They're just huge, and yeah,
Yes,
I get it.
it's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that
I,
I'm trying to like cosplay more Yasha and like different variants. I'm like coming across that too, where I'm like, oh, these are really pretty. I should take them up. And it's like, where? Where? Your mom just gave you 15 pounds of fabric. Where are you putting these
yeah.
15 stems of flowers?
Well, if you yank them off the stems, which is what I do with most of them, they take up a little less space.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
Totally.
doesn't help when you have a cat who eats them all.
I want to see the kitty. Let's see the kitty and then sign off.
Let me grab him. Hello. Oh, he's biting me. Yes. I don't know what it is. He's like camera shy. Like he knows when there's a camera on him and he turns into a big jerk.
Mine
This
does
is Jimmy
too.
Buffett.
Oh, hello, Jimmy Buffett.
Yes.
Oh, you're a beautiful man. Oh my gosh, you're looking at me. Hello. Hi. Little.
Yes.
That's
You're going to try
perfect.
and bite me so much, aren't you? Yes. Yes, you are.
What?
Okay, thank you
It
for
was a.
letting me use you for the internet.
Yeah, a very photogenic cat. All right. It
There we
was
go.
a pleasure chit-chatting with you. I know that Instagram. I could talk longer, but Instagram's gonna kick us off after an hour.
Okay.
But this has been a lot of fun, and
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
hopefully, like this could be a regular thing, especially like after not being able to go to conventions and talk about nerdy stuff and cosplay stuff. It's nice to just sit down and talk about nerdy stuff and cosplay stuff, 1,000
Yeah,
miles away.
absolutely.
All right, well, I'm gonna take off and do a photo shoot of my own, hopefully,
All
if I have
right.
enough